Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, June 26, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know whether that's been liking your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we still have the tropical wave off to the west of Jamaica affecting portions of Central America. And we know that this tropical wave is the remnant of Tropical Storm Brett, which has weakened back to a tropical wave. We can see a trough right there to the north of the Eastern Caribbean associated with what's left of Tropical Storm Cindy, which has weakened back to a trough of low pressure. And we can also see another tropical wave right there to the east of the Caribbean, and some of the clouds associated with this tropical wave has already started affecting portions of the Eastern Caribbean. We can also see another tropical wave right there to the west of Africa, and that will be making its way westward as time progresses. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, they're still stating that the trough associated with Cindy still has about a 30% chance of moving to the north and maybe possibly becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm later on down the road, but the chance is low at this time, only about a 30% chance. Taking a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave right there off to the south and west of Jamaica, affecting portions of Central America. So the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama getting in on some amount of overcast skies, showers and thunderstorms. You can also see the clouds associated with that trough to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. And we can see the clouds associated with that tropical wave right there to the east of the Caribbean right there. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean's weather later on. Let's focus our attention on what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that for Monday afternoon, we would have received some rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. Northern parishes: Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, maybe even Portland, but not necessarily at all these days. Western parishes: maybe St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. And what ended up happening? At 2:15 p.m., a post was made on our Twitter page highlighting the infrared close-up satellite images showing overcast skies, showers and thunderstorms. You know, those sparkling white dots represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, because not all of these lightning strikes end up touching the ground. So we see majority of that across sections of some northern and western parishes, the very areas that were predicted. And we here at Weather Jamaica, we take these predictions very seriously. We take accuracy very seriously, and it's actually what took place. So we had that across sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and even spilling into sections of Westmoreland as well. And then another post was made on our Twitter page a couple hours later highlighting the very same clouds, still bringing some overcast sky showers and thunderstorms to the northern and western portion of the island. But we saw that sections of northern St. Catherine, southern St. Mary, western Portland, and northern St. Andrew got in on some of the overcast sky showers and thunderstorms as well. And we do indeed have confirmation. Let's first look at the confirmation across the north and west. So we have Lisa Shorty stating St. James get a nice piece of cool down. Amber Latoya stating raining cats and dogs in St. James. And then Farm underscore boss 876 stating rain in parts of Trelawney. Skipping ahead to our Twitter comments, we see that we have one here from Prophetic Psalmist stating amazing wind, overcast skies, and lightning and thunder. Light mode near St. Richard's Primary and Price Mart where deals Road, St. Andrew. Drizzle start at 5:07 p.m. Even on our Facebook page, we had confirmation of this rainfall. We see Sudsail Jackson in St. Mary. At this time, I see dark clouds cover the sky, and I heard thunder. Audrey Jackson stating light showers in the hills, they should say hills of St. James. Some lightning, but not much. TG Minidal stating rain in Montego Bay. Anderson Tours underscore Jamaica stating raining. Wifey Material 28 above rocks is pouring. Oh no, above rocks is about northern St. Andrew. Definitely got in on some of that rainfall. And even Marvin underscore Ross stating hills of St. Andrew is flooding out. We even have confirmation from Fleek Fusion stating raining in Linstead, lightning and thunder. Umbrella just smashed up when me run by the fall cube. Wow. So that's in St. Catherine. So definitely got in on some amount of rainfall across sections of northern St. Catherine, northern St. Andrew. Even Anne-Marie stating raining now in St. James Place, cool and nice, man. So we definitely had confirmation of this rainfall. If we even take a look back at the visible satellite images, we saw that we had more of an east-southeasterly flow across the island, just like what we predicted yesterday. Then we had those cumulus clouds becoming cumulonimbus clouds in the afternoon hours, and then bring some showers and thunderstorms across sections of some northern and western parishes especially. And we saw that on the infrared satellite images, and we see that we still have a lot of thunderstorms right there off the northwestern coast of Jamaica. These are the latest satellite images, by the way. So we can still see that we have some amount of thunderstorms out to sea right there off the coast of Hanover. So maybe if there are some fishers or marines out there at this time, maybe they're being affected by that bad weather. And even if we take a look at our friends over at See Jamaica, we have a partnership with their YouTube channel. We know that they show live streams of Crossroads in Kingston, Halfway Tree in St. Andrew, and the Kingston Harbour. And if we actually take a look at the Crossroads cam, which is pointing to the north to the hills of St. Andrew, we can see that about 2 hours ago, that's about 4:25 p.m., we saw that we had those dark clouds bringing overcast skies, as well as some showers and thunderstorms. We even saw some lightning flashes in there, right there across sections of northwestern St. Andrew. So we definitely had confirmation of this rainfall, even although the coastal areas, Crossroads, downtown Kingston, saw sunshine. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology is showing for the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours across Jamaica. So we do indeed see the confirmation that yes, we had that rainfall across those very areas that were just mentioned: northern St. Catherine, northern St. Andrew, sections of southern St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and even Westmoreland. So it's very much accurate in terms of where the rainfall is located, not necessarily accurate in terms of the amount of rainfall that we actually had, but it actually, paints quite the picture. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as usual, as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing 18 on Tuesday, which is actually about 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we see Jamaica in some yellow shades that represent at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. And we know that the average temperatures for the month of June in Jamaica is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we take a look at the thermometer, that's about the equivalent of 32.2 degrees Celsius. So if we should be receiving at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures for tomorrow, because we know that when both the Euro and the GFS models are showing the same thing, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. So we should be receiving anywhere from, let's say, 32.2 degrees Celsius to about 33.3 degrees Celsius at most. Taking a look at the dry air map, we see that by the key at the bottom, the driest air is represented by the reds and the whites within those reds, while the least amount of dry air is represented by the yellows. We don't have much in the way of dry air across the majority of the Caribbean at this time, especially considering we have so much moist weather happening, lots of thunderstorms across sections of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Cuba. not to mention the waters to the east of the Caribbean, not to mention sections of Central America. So there's a lot of moisture to go around. Majority of the driest areas right there off the coast of Africa. However, as it relates to the Saharan dust, we do have some amount of Saharan dust in the area, but the most robust dust is right there in the darker shades of browns, right there affecting portions of the Leeward Islands and areas to the east of there. And we hope that it stays out in the main development region for majority of the season. We don't want anyone's asthma or sinusitis or allergies to be triggered at this time. So 2 p.m. on Tuesday, this is the forecast for where it is going to be located. We see some lighter shades of browns affecting portions of Jamaica. By then, we won't necessarily see that in the sky. We won't see that milky shade or out in the horizon in the hills or anything like that. We'd have to have those very darker shades of browns for us to really see and be affected by the Saharan dust. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow for Jamaica, we can see that Jamaica is still surrounded by a lot of blues, and when we take a look at the key at the bottom right, it represents anywhere from 0 to at least 1.5 meter wave height, and that's due to the fact that we won't be receiving some strong winds at all. We should be receiving up to at least 15 knot winds at most coming in from the east, with more of an east-southeasterly tug across sections of the island on the GFS. The Euro showing more of an easterly flow. Either way, where does all of that air pile up? Where do we have the most blues that represent the least amount of air? Across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica, maybe even more across sections of some northern parishes, because we can see that kind of east-southeasterly flow coming into sections of some southern parishes. So majority of it might want to pile up across sections of some northern parishes again and western parishes again, just like what we had yesterday, just like what we had today as well. So the same thing like what happened today might happen again. So we might see those cumulus clouds becoming cumulonimbus clouds on the north and west side of the island, bringing more overcast skies, showers and thunderstorms to those very spots that got it today. So areas like St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, maybe even spilling into sections of St. Elizabeth as well. And the upper level wind shear is coming in from the northwest across the island for tomorrow. We can see that both the Euro and the GFS forecast 18Z, which is 1 p.m. on Tuesday, show the upper level winds coming in from the northwest. What does this mean? We saw that majority of the upper level winds were blowing off those high cold cloud tops today towards the east. So if these thunderstorms develop across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica, the upper level winds are going to be blowing the clouds off, the high cold cloud tops, when they develop into thunderstorms, blowing them off towards the southeast. So it might bring some more overcast skies to sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica as those low level clouds, those thunder clouds, move their way off towards the west. And if we take a look at the precipitation forecast for tomorrow, both maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And we see a lot of blues that represent rainfall across especially northern parishes and western parishes in Jamaica. So northern St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James especially, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, maybe even spilling into section of northern St. Andrew again right there. And we see something similar on the Euro model. The Euro is even a bit more robust, showing some greens in there that represent even more rainfall. So definitely some more rainfall in store, maybe even some strong thunderstorms across those very spots: Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. So get ready for that rainfall. Ensure that you bring your rain gear with you, umbrella, raincoat, whatever the case may be, so that you're not that drastically affected. And even if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast for tomorrow, we even see some consensus, some reds in there across that area, across maybe the border of Trelawney and St. James, that represent even up to 0.7 of an inch of rainfall, or even 0.8 of an inch of rainfall. We see the consensus there. So definitely some more rain in store for sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. And we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of dent in the current hydrological drought that we're experiencing, even though we're experiencing this hydrological drought more so on the south coast of the island, where all of those water restrictions by the National Water Commission is being imposed. So we usually receive up to 133 millimeters of rainfall in the month of June. I'm sure it has been like that thus far for especially northern parishes, considering that they've been getting a lot of rainfall, especially the past couple of months. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put the a dent in this drought. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of clouds coming into sections of the Leeward and Windward Islands at this time, mainly the Windward Islands, but we do see some patches of clouds coming into sections of the Leeward Islands as well. So anywhere from Dominica southward, so Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, if not Trinidad yet, Tobago definitely feeling it at this time. Sections of Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, as usual, getting the usual thunderstorms. Sections of Western Colombia, not Western Colombia, Western Venezuela, sections of majority of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, sections of Belize, and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, getting in on some amount of overcast sky showers and thunderstorms. We even see some rainfall across sections of Cuba and Hispaniola right there. Let us take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean. Right now, we know that Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall over an area. And look at that, the more south we get across the Leeward Islands, the more rainfall we see. So we don't see much in the way of rainfall across sections of Puerto Rico, just some afternoon convection across sections of inland areas and western sections of Puerto Rico, especially northwestern Puerto Rico right there. We don't see much across the US and British Virgin Islands, but we do see some rainfall coming into sections of St. Kitts, St. John's, maybe St. Bart's, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Guadeloupe, getting in on some rainfall coming in from the east, Dominica, Martinique, and St. Lucia. We'll see the St. Lucian radar, or the St. Lucian rainfall, even better on the Barbados radar. So this is the Barbados radar, and we do indeed see that rainfall coming into sections of St. Lucia, Martinique. We saw that we had some amount of rainfall across sections of Barbados earlier. Majority of that has moved off towards the west. You can see more of that passing to the north and south of Barbados, with more to come later on tonight into tomorrow. We see a lot of rainfall coming into sections of Grenada at this time, Tobago getting it, sections of St. Vincent, sections of St. Lucia, just as we mentioned earlier. Nothing yet for sections of Trinidad. Right there, majority of the squall line is coming in from the east, so definitely later on this evening they might get in on some of that if it doesn't dissipate. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see the rainfall that we just mentioned on the satellite images across sections of Cuba, sections of the waters to the west of Jamaica, portions of Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, Honduras. You can see that rainfall as well across sections of Colombia and French Guiana. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that stretching from the eastern Caribbean to the western Caribbean, we should be receiving average to some slightly above average temperatures, at least up to 3 degrees Celsius above average in some spots, especially around the Hispaniola and Puerto Rico areas. While the highest temperatures should be right there still across sections of Mexico and Texas, where we have that heat wave. So do take the necessary precautions, stay hydrated, stay out of the sun during peak hours so that you're not that drastically affected. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast, we can see that we have some dust in store for sections of the Leeward Islands tomorrow, with those darker shades of browns for 2 p.m. on Tuesday. We can see the lighter shades of brown stretching from the west central Caribbean to the western Caribbean, while we have those darker shades of brown across majority of the main development region. We hope that majority of that dust stays out there in the main development region and doesn't push its way towards the Windward and Leeward Islands and then making its way westward, and then triggering some sinusitis, allergies or asthmatic issues in anyone at all. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing that we should be receiving anywhere from 0 to at least 1.5 meter wave heights for majority of the Caribbean. It's only the waters right there off to the east of the Leeward Islands that we see some purples that represent up to 2 meter wave heights, and that's due to the fact that the wind that the tropical wave is going to be kicking up is going to be at least maybe up to 25 knots right there, as indicated by those yellows. Either way, some strong winds as usual will accompany those thunderstorms, while the rest of the Caribbean should be experiencing anywhere from 5 to at least 15 or maybe even 20 knots at most. Taking a look at the rain forecast now, we can see that we do indeed have some rainfall, but not that drastic amount of rainfall to receive across sections of Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. We do see some more rainfall now in intensity across sections of the Windward Islands right there. So anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, that's where we see some reds that indicate up to 1 inch or more of rainfall. So Martinique, sections of St. Lucia, sections of Dominica, maybe sections of Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, even sections to the south of there, so Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, and even on the GFS model we see some purples or even more shades in there that represent up to 3 inches of rainfall or more across those spots in Central America. So some isolated flash flooding could take place in some spots, definitely for tomorrow across those Spanish speaking countries. So we see some more rainfall across sections of Mexico, Guatemala, sections of El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua. We do see some rainfall across sections of Belize as well. The Euro is a bit more robust, showing some reds across sections of Belize right there. GFS not so much. Either way, we do see consensus on both maps for majority of these areas that we just mentioned, and we know that when we have consensus, when we have agreement, when both maps are showing the same thing for these areas, the chances of it actually happening in terms of all the rainfall that's predicted is much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for